Right, now this is really our only story this morning, and a very serious one. The children's rights groups are saying parents and guardians should accompany children to school and pick them up because things have been circulating on social media of children going missing. Some of the stories may not be true, but however, there is a grain of truth in this, and even if there wasn't, to be frank, it's something that you need to do is look after your kids anyway. But we have a little bit of video from a policeman in Rua who's actually giving some good advice to parents about how they should protect their children's safety. Have a watch.
Simba makasimbera vabereki ndaya kwamuri zvekare Zimbabwe Republic Police yakabatana neCOC Rua tikuramba tichiyeuchidzana munyaya dzekurarama kwedu naika pane imwe nyaya iri kusuwisa zvikuru iri kurwadza kunze uko yekuti vabereki vari kuramba vakarara vachisiya mwana achienda kuchikoro ega. Please apa vana vacho vadiki kunze uko hakuna kumira mushe. Please vabereki ngatibatsiranei nevana vedu kuperekedza mwana kuchikoro nekunomutora zvekare akubva kuchikoro ayokumba. Zvizhinji zviri kuitika kunze uko mukuzivisa vabereki nekudaro tirikuramba tichiyeuchidzana munyaya dzevana vedu. Vana vari kubiwa, vana vari kutsikwa nemota nekuda kwedu vabereki takarara kumba tiri paWhatsApp. Please ngatimbosiye maWhatsApp, ngatibatsiranei nevana vedu kuvaperekedza kuchikoro nekunovatora zvekare. Tiri papo zvekare vabereki ndabva ndakuyeuchidzai mazuva ano musanyore zita remwana pabhegi rechikoro, musanyore zita remwana pabhegi rechikoro. Please zviri easy kumatsotsi vanotageta mwana nekumushedza nezita rake. Tanaka, yes Tanaka, uyaunzo zvataunzwa namama wako we Tanaka nenyaya kuti achizwa nezita anoludza confidence, anobva ati ava vanondiziva. Saka musanyore mazita evana pamabhegi. Endai munotora vana, dzidzisaiwo vana venyu kuti kana ukanzi maswits nemota usakwire, siya. Please Zimbabwe Republic Police tikurwadziwa, tikutsutsumwa everyday, tikureceiva macases evana vekubiwa, evana vekutsikwa nekuburikidza nesu isusu uye naabuse yekusiya mwana ega nemusikana kumba iwo uchienda kubasa. Wakudhila neWhatsApp, wakudhila nekubasa kudarika mwana wenyu. Please vabereki ngatichengetedzei vana. Make sure wabvunzana nemwana wako wabva kubasa uri safe here, wasora uchitamba wanga uchitei, waitoi namainini zvakaoma. Vamwe vana vari kuabuse ndopamunozona mavidhiyo pasocial media anorwadza. Thank you so much mhuri yeZimbabwe. Zimbabwe Republic Police yakabata neCOC Rua. Tinokuigirai mashoko aya ekuburikidza nekurarama nemhuri yedu. Chengetedzai mwana, mwana hachengetwa nemupurisa, mwana achengetwa newe muridzi wemubereki, ndiwe muridzi wemwana.
He's absolutely right. Mwana anochengetwa nemubereki. You are responsible for your children. Now, of course, we have been talking about this issue since the first hour, and we have been saying, you know what, if you have thoughts on, or tips you can share with other parents on how to keep your children safe, especially when they are at school, things that they should know, for example, that would help keep them safe, things you wish the schools would do to help keep them safe, let us know. The feedback platforms are the Zim Papers TV Network Facebook page or at ZTN Prime on Twitter and at ZTN Prime on Instagram. Now, joining us in studio to talk about this a bit further from Childline Zimbabwe is Munyaradzi Nemachena. Munyaradzi, thank you so much for joining us.
Great.
Welcome. You.
Now, we have, of course, been talking about how there has been an increase in cases of missing children's reports. What are some of the factors that are behind this increase? Is it that we're reporting more, or they really are just going missing more often now?
Thank you for asking such a relevant question. Indeed, it's really a cause for concern. Children going missing these days, the cases are on the increase. And some of the factors from our programming experience, what we have seen is that there seem to be neglect on the part of the parents. Parents seem to be too occupied with their usual businesses, turning a blind eye over children. So at the end of the day, strangers, sexual predators, abductors take advantage of that. So it's a really a cause for concern, especially to us as child rights practitioners.
I mean, earlier on, Candice had mentioned, which was fun. I mean, when we were growing up, it was don't talk to strangers, don't take sweets for strangers. It appears that we've sort of subjected the kids now. They're watching cartoons, they're watching social media. It's almost like parents have said, let the kids be raised on their own, and they're not being taught these basic security tips. What is your view?
Yes, indeed. If you look at your plain statistics, like Childline operate the 116 phone where children call. So from our statistics, what we've gathered is that children tend to be abused by close family members. So some of these strangers, they are taking advantage of they are working in crowds with some of the family members to abduct children. So it's not like strangers who are acting alone. There's someone who is close to the child, who is acting in crowds with the child abductors. So yeah, of course, when you're growing up, we are told don't talk to strangers, and that same mantra still goes on, don't talk to strangers. But we are now saying children, because of technological advancements, they are now spending much more of their time on online spaces. So what we are doing as Childline is to provide parenting education and awareness raising. We are running a program called Screen Online Project. Screen means to protect. So we are trying to provide online tips so that children stay safe. So when children go missing, some of the reasons is because they've been, exposed to online groomers. So the child, because of grooming, yes, she will end up being, abducted. So as Childline, we are conscientizing the community, we are raising awareness in schools, and we also capacitating our parents through digital parenting workshops. Some of these parents, they are not exposed, to technologies. They need to know to befriend their children, even on Facebook. They need to utilize the social media platforms. Who do their children play with? They don't even know.
To monitor their kids.
Yes.
I mean, people say privacy, but at the end of the day, until 18, you're my kid,
Yes.
right?
And Munya, you raise a very important point that, some of these parents, we're buying the technology for our children because we know that is what they need. Some schools require them to come to school with this technology, but we ourselves are not well versed with it. What are some of, like you've mentioned, of course, basic things such as friending your children on Facebook, but for your younger kids, what are some of the things that you should be alert for, especially online? I know at some point there was a YouTube video that was teaching children how to commit suicide, for example. When we look at issues to do with child safety, and especially from scenarios of kidnapping, what are some of the things that parents should be looking for especially with those with younger kids?
Yeah, parents should be really concerned about the kind of games that their children play. Children are exposed to dangerous games, right? So we need to have, time with kids, just have an interest and look at the kind of games they are playing. I like the fact that you raised that, kids are being exposed to dangerous games. So what we are doing is Childline. If you noticed that there are dangerous, games that children are exposed to, we have partnered with the Harare Institute of Technology to develop what we call an educational game that is both fun and entertaining as a way of, trying to distract children away from the dangerous games. So very soon we'll be deploying those games with the approval of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. They've given the go-ahead to say this is nice. So we try to pre-test so that children, they make use of the educational games.
Now, there was three issues that we spoke about. We talked about parents, churches, schools, and that they have a role to play. I mean, getting back to this kidnapping and abduction that apparently is happening now quite prevalent throughout the country. What would be your advice to, say, schools and schools and churches, for example? What can they do to get involved in this fight to make sure our children are protected?
Okay. So to start with churches, they should make it part of their conversation. At church, a child can go missing because the abductors, they take advantage, of the safe spaces. They know that people will be preoccupied, busy preaching, busy, worshiping. So churches, we also as child rights practitioners also need, to work hand in glove with the churches by training them on safeguarding issues. Because these are some of the issues that they may possibly be turning a blind on. And the churches can even go on to the extent of appointing someone to be a Sunday school teacher who is not,
Who's also one of these...
Yes, exactly.
Who is a predator themselves.
Who is a predator, exactly. So there's need for thorough background checks. There's need for thorough vetting to ensure that the person we're entrusting our kids with is someone, who is morally upright.
Now,
And
Munya,
schools, sorry, what about schools?
Criminal
Sorry,
record.
schools, what about schools? What can schools do?
Okay, so for schools, what we are also doing as Childline, we have realized that there's a gap. Children will be, so many at school, it's difficult to keep a watchful eye over them. But schools need to put security measures in place. And we are training them on child safeguarding mechanisms so that they can also have a register where even if I walk in pretending that, on the under the guise that, I'm saving children, someone can just come in with an ulterior motive.
Right.
Yes, to abduct a child.
So you make
they
a
should
good
be
point,
strengthened.
because I went to do a show once and I just literally walked into 3 schools and I just walked in the gate, walked up, the kids were all around me.
yeah, you shouldn't have.
I
but
shouldn't
yes.
have been allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Munya, you raised a very, and I know we're running out of time, but you raised a very seriously worrying point when you said that some of these predators are not acting alone. They are acting with the assistance of somebody that the child knows. How do we safeguard our children from predatory characters who are around us, considering that some of these things we only become aware of them when an incident happens or somebody speaks up? What should we be telling our children to ensure that they are safeguarding themselves from even the people that we know and we seem to trust?
Okay, so I think the key message here is that we should develop, a healthy relationship with your child. Some of the cases that we encounter, children tend to report later when a predator would have, shown some signs that he wants to commit a dangerous, act on a child. So it's important for parents to develop healthy relationships. So what we are doing, we are also conducting positive parenting sessions with parents so that they develop health relationships. So it should be part of, the conversation at home, just checking on a child. You have a normal conversation. How was your day at school? The child it will be easy for him or her to open up if something is bad is happening to her, or is suspecting that a stranger or a close family member is,
You make a good point, because sometimes we get home from work, we're tired, the kid comes to say, Mommy, Daddy, you chase them away because you don't want, but actually you need to spend time. But look, first of all, let's applaud Childline. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I think there's nothing, and please tell if you need to contact your kid, you need help, you need to talk to someone, you just need to have a chat. Childline, please give us your details, give everyone your details.
Okay, so for Childline, it's easy. We have a memorable number. You can call 116, it's for free. So this does not only apply to children, even a concerned community member. If you suspect that there is, a case of child rights violation, or suspect that a child is in danger, please call 116 for free.
No,
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work, guys.